Are we big, bad, and back and live at 8:59? Wow, 8:59. We've got Rob here, not Eric, and we've started a minute early. Ooh, foreboding for Eric. How are you all? Hey, Magnus. Hey, Tom. Hey, Sheila. Hey, Dave. Wow. Hi, Devon. How are you all? Hugs, Anita. Hugs back. Paul. Breng. I can't pronounce people's names. Darko. Jeff. Hello, Jeff. How are you? Keith. Mark. How is everybody? Wow. So we're getting started early today because the kids have the day off from school. And after that, we are going to Disneyland. But they don't know. I think my son at 12 is probably going to be like, okay. But my daughter's 4, so it's going to be like, yes, Disneyland, you know. So that's going to be fun. So, without further ado, let's go through the songs. Now, this time, we didn't forget that we're also putting up the original posts inside of the Academy, so we get to read people's notes. Okay, so first up, is and I don't want to pronounce your name properly, but is Breng, who is here. You're marvelous, says Breng. You're marvelous. Well, luckily your song is up here. Let's see if we can find your notes. Here they are. I'm going to pull it over onto the screen. Dun, dun, dun. So Breng says, this is my first time mixing Huart's tracks. What a great recording and songwriting. I've gone into this crazy idea of putting explosions into music. So it's nice experimenting. Okay, Breng, let's listen to the explosions in the music. If I hit the right button.
There's a space between, like holding the universe, trying to find out what it means. Is love all we need? Or is it mixed with a little fate and destiny? Don't know where it starts, don't know where it ends, yeah. I know where I've been, but I'm back to where I began. Find the reason, find the meaning of where I'm going. 'Cause I want it and I need it, yeah. It all comes back around. Oh, and I've needed, I've tried, I've cried a million times, but it all comes back around. There's a space between, like holding the universe, trying to find out what it means. Is love all we need? Or is it mixed with a little bit of fate and destiny? One reason, one life, one chance to make it right. 'Cause it all comes back, it all comes back around. Oh, and I've needed, I've tried, I've cried a million times, but it all comes back
Fantastic. Wow, I really like it. I really, really like it. So it's funny, I use the thing called the DP Explosion, which was a band I produced on Atlantic about 10 years ago called The Dance Party, hence the DP, Dance Party. And I like those kind of effects a lot. I love what you're doing there. I feel like the drama that comes in there, I thought it was going to go to like a big string arrangement or something like that. I think that personally would have been absolutely fantastic. I like it a lot. I'm not sure personally, and this is personal taste, I like the chorusing kind of effect. And it might just be the H3000 being pushed a little heavily. I'm not sure if I dig that much.
I know where I've been, but I'm back to where
it starts off natural.
There's a space.
I like that, but then here, the balance just changes a little bit too much for me.
I know where I've been.
I mean, the second time it doesn't bother me as much. And I think, so this is a really good lesson. But on the whole, great mix. I love the dynamic build. You've definitely followed the song and taken it to, you've realized the idea of it, of letting it grow and grow and grow. It's a good example, though, of talking about things like an effect there, which I didn't like the first time I heard it, and now I play it back, I'm like, it's okay. Yeah, okay. Maybe it's okay to keep it like that. All right. Why am I bringing that up? For me, I'll work on a song, and the next day or later on the day after I've had a break, I'll listen to it one time down. And I always have some kind of way of making notes, either a pad or paper, but these days usually your phone or notes or something like that. And then I play it down and I make notes of things immediately of what I do and don't like. And if I listen to it 2 or 3 times, things don't bother me as much. I get used to them. So for me, that guttural reaction, that first time through, is the most important one. I think also if you're listening to a mix like many times, what ends up happening is you can get used to an issue, but B, you can get obsessed about things that aren't important. We have an artist we're about to work with again for his second album, and we're going to do it next month. And I told my manager yesterday that we would only do 3 recalls maximum, and then he would have to pay for more. And it's basically because he put us through, a lot of work chasing tails, looking for things that weren't important. I mean, he got obsessed with this breath where he's like, it's supposed to go ha, rather than ha. And we had no idea what he meant. And it was just like, I think we were up to like 4 o'clock in the morning trying to get a breath right. And it was just ridiculous. And he was relentless. And of course, nobody on the planet knew what he was talking about. And so that's just a good lesson in where sometimes I've seen artists like listen too much. But I think as a producer, an engineer, and a mixer, your guttural first reaction when taking a break on something is the most honest. I think that's wonderful, Breng. I think you did a fantastic job. I personally, the only thing I would really look to do is bring down the chorusing effect, which is probably the H3000 coming up heavier there, at least where it's barer, where there's not much going on. I like that effect, but often you'll see with the H3000, the thinking a trick, I am pushing it up in the choruses and bringing it down the verses, pushing up in the choruses. So it helps separate something from a lot of production, but when there's not a lot of production, I reduce it quite dramatically. But great work, and I do like the explosions. All right, here we go. Ron is next with Fire. Hey, Ron, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the creativity. I'm reading everybody's notes. I think I agree with a lot of it. It sounds like to me, Ron, are you mixing this hybrid through a console? It sounds, I mean, I could be wrong. It sounds like it's gone back through a console and it's got a little cloudy as a result. Somebody said that, Tom said it sounds heavily compressed, like it's coming from the next room. I don't know if I necessarily agree with exactly that phrase, but I understand his sentiment, and I believe that it just sounds a little cloudy to me, which might be typical of going back through a console and EQ being applied, and compression being applied maybe a little aggressively. So you're not going back through a console. Interesting. See, because it's lost a bit of that. It's lost a bit of that kind of more upfrontness when you stay in a DAW. Interesting. Then it must be saturations, etc., that's doing it. I like the idea of what you're doing. Slate console emulation. Okay. All right. So I haven't got to use that yet. It's interesting. You know, when I do the live streams and we're working using anybody's plugins we want. Yesterday, obviously, we did IK Multimedia, but, and then we've done some Waves ones. But generally speaking, we're just doing a free-for-all and picking what we like best. I've never reached for console emulations. I don't really know why that is. I've never done that. I don't really use tape emulations as much. But I think a lot of it is to do with whatever the source materials you have. I think if you've got source materials that have been recorded with, Neves or 1073s and 312s and you've got enough grit and grind and girth, some low mids from the mic pre's. If you've got all of those things happening, then I feel like you're probably not reaching for the console emulation stuff so much. So it might just be a case of like the balance, it might be wrong that you keep it. No, but I mean, what I'm talking about, because when I mix in the box, when I do the live streams, those are all mixed in the box and I don't reach for console emulations. I find that the SSL has a certain sound, but I can reproduce it using other plugins. Yeah, so it's weird because this is sparking off conversation. Sorry, now David's saying the same thing. Just to be really, really clear, I'm not talking about when I mix hybrid. I'm talking about all of those, like those 40 live streams that we've done. Every single one of those live streams, just to be really clear, I don't use console emulations, and I've realized that that's not what I want from a console. I don't go, it's a strange one, isn't it? It's like, I've never thought about it. I've never thought, I have to emulate my SSL. I feel like the SSL is a different palette. So when I'm mixing in the box entirely, I haven't tried the CLA Mix Hub yet. And I'm a little skeptical. So I've got to try it. I don't want to be that guy who knows about it before I've tried it. I feel like there's a lot of different ways to do things. And I haven't tried Slate's console emulation yet. But But I really like the idea of the song. I like the way that you've made it kind of... I think that's the right thing to do. I think the snare can come down, but I think it needs to open up, open it up a little bit. Yeah, and like Alex is saying, if you've got something, and like I was saying earlier, if you're recording something with a nice mic pre and a decent mic, you're probably less likely to be reaching for it. But yes, if you've got a really super, super digital sound, especially DIs on instruments, then you'll probably reach for, or not probably, could reach for a console emulation. But I'll be intrigued because the EDM mix that we did with those guitars that I did is being mixed by Ariel Shobaz. So he's going to mix it, and we're going to film next week a mix breakdown on it. So you're going to get to see Ariel and the way he mixes it, and I'll be intrigued to see whether, whether there is any console emulation on that because he's mixing it entirely the way he wants. And as you know, most of the tracks on that are done, electronically. We're using virtual instruments. So, yeah. So maybe the lesson is less console emulation on the organic stuff, and as we're all pointing out, use it more for the EDM stuff, the dance music stuff, the virtual instruments. But what is interesting though is I find other ways to distort. I think what I'm trying to say is I don't think of the console in quite that way. I think of it because I like some of the advantages of both systems, But yeah, great stuff. So Ron says nothing on the main output but a limiter. But I'm assuming you're using a lot of compression along the way to control it before you hit the limiter, because obviously the dynamics are controlled pretty heavily. So yeah, for me, I would probably back off all those emulations. It does make me wonder what the Slate one's like. If it seems a little heavy-handed. So maybe it's just what the Slate one is doing. What's interesting here is I've got the chat room on because this is signed in through Eric's account. So I've got Eric's chat room here on the public one. I've also got the chat room going on my cell phone here, and I've got the chat going here with us. So there's 3 chat. It's like it's pretty crazy. All right, great work, Ron. I like the direction. I like what you're doing. Go back to those emulations at the console and just back it off a little bit and open it up. Otherwise, fantastic work. I really appreciate it. And we will move swiftly on to Sheila's version of Blame It on the Whiskey. So to answer Paul, yes, I have grabbed the SSL E channel, but it's not a console emulation. It doesn't do that same thing the Brainworks does. It emulates the EQ and the compression, but I like it. I like the Brainworks. I like the waves, but it doesn't sound like my console. It just doesn't. But it definitely has the EQ points and the compression. Yeah. I think the console emulation we're talking about is where it gets used on multiple channels and stuff like that. All right, here we go.
Blame it on the whiskey. Blame it on the bad weed. Blame it on the only thing you've ever seen. Run and tell your mother. Blame it on your brother. Blame it on the only thing you've ever heard. Tell it in a tall tale why you was raising up hell, falling like the hardest stone that ever fell. Blame it on a bad dream. No, it didn't mean a damn thing. Anything to keep yourself from coming clean. All you do is lie. All you do is try to deny. All you do is lie. Even when you know it just ain't right. All you do is lie. Now you're getting older. You're still looking over your shoulder. Everybody's moving on. You're growing colder. So blame it on the whiskey. Blame it on your company. No, it really doesn't matter all that much to me. All you do is lie. All you do is try to deny. All you do is lie. Even when you know it just ain't right. All you do is try to deny. All you do is lie. Even when you know it just ain't right. All you do is lie. All you do is try to deny. All you do is lie. Even when you know it just ain't right. All you do is lie. Blame it on the whiskey. All you do is lie. All you do is lie.
Wow, Sheila. It's a really fantastic mix. Really, really fantastic mix. And thanks everybody for all of the great compliments on it. I agree. Really good. I just want to jump in somewhere and have a listen.
All you do is lie. All you do is try to deny. All you do is lie.
So I just want to hear, you probably know what I'm going to say, a little bit of 40 to 60 under the kick there. Just a little bit more just underneath. I think a tiny bit more definition in mid-range on the bass. You could go, I'd actually bring up some 3 to 5, like a little bit. I'd bump about 3K on the bass just to bring up a tiny bit more of the growl, like another dB of that. And then give me a little 40 to 60 on the kick.
All you do is lie. All you do is try.
Yeah, just a dB at 3K on the bass.
All you do is try to deny. All you
Because there's great weight to the bass, but I want to, get a little underneath it.
All you do is try to deny. All you do is lie.
Again, tiny little amounts. Really good. I love how open it is. I love how you kept it so all the instruments sort of work together. These guys were tracking live in a room. It's essentially a live take with overdub vocals. So the only other thing that everybody was catching, or a couple of people were catching, is like, give us a little bit more of that solo. And I also wouldn't be afraid to maybe center it a little bit more. If you want to keep him so he's over to the left, so he sounds like like it was tracked live, that's perfectly cool. But maybe, just pull him in like 20% more to the middle and turn it up. And maybe add a little bit more verb and a tiny bit more delays on the solo. Otherwise, absolutely phenomenal. Bravo, great work. Look at that. Sheila, you rock. Next up is Scott P. Oh, I forgot. My fault. Let's go and look at the... let's go and look. I'm trying to find the notes. Oh, okay, here it is. My fault for not doing the last one. I apologize. Okay. Scott P says, I really like some of the remixes done with this song. There's some very creative plappers here. Fantastic. Here we go.
Counting down from 10, I'm saying my prayers, thinking of the things I would have done, yeah, could have done, should have done. What a trip it's been, shame it's gotta end. Won't you hold my Spitting one hand and wishing the other. Better brace yourself. It's gonna hurt like hell. Did this to ourselves. Too little, too little, too late now. Last kiss on my lips couldn't be sweeter. Been fun, the party is over. I've learned a thing or two. Now I'll watch the end of the world with you. The end of the world with you. Oh no, here it comes, so get ready to run for your life. Been fun, the party is over. I've learned a thing or two. Now I'll watch the end of the world with you. The end of the world with you. So long, it's finally over. No one left to miss you. Front row to the end of the world with you. The end of the world with you.
Fantastic. Wow, that's really, really amazing. Absolutely love it. Wow, really good. So, really minor stuff. And minor stuff based on the fact that the mix is wonderful. More overheads for me. I love the kick and the snare, but I just want to hear a little bit more surrounding the drums, so a little bit more overheads. This is what I call a headphone mix, and you know what that means to me. That means when the mix is super, super close. It's like 98% there, and now I take this mix and I go and sit on the couch over there and I put on the headphones, plug in the USB stick and have a listen and make notes. And my notes, if this was my mix, would be like, okay, a bit more overheads, give some air around the drums, here's some cymbals, number one. But the only other thing, by the way, the guitar treatment is fantastic. I love the way the guitars sound. I love the way the bass sound. My only other thing is to create something, some drama in the bridge, that when the last chorus comes in, it sounds more exciting. So I would be going, what can I mute? You know what I mean? I'm having let's listen to the bridge.
The end of the world with you. Oh no, here it comes, so get ready to run for your life. Been fun.
Now, I hear the explosion there being used, but I wonder if we can sort of empty that out there, Scott. You know, no, da, 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 get ready to run for your life. Maybe some air there. Maybe mute some of my stuff. I mean, it's like, even though I'm the producer and the writer on this song, I you know what I mean? If I'm coming to mix it, I'm not going to pay any. I think sometimes, and I've said this quite a few times, you know, it's a catch-22, and it's been asked of me many, many times about, you know, do you mute stuff? Do you replay things? I'm like, yes, I mute stuff all the time. I copy and paste guitars over. I replay things when I'm just hired to mix. But the reality is, with all of those things, is like, I'm just hired to mix, but I'm also going to do some additional production stuff. And I think about it from Andy Wallace. Andy Wallace during the 90s, when he was like the biggest mixer in the world, especially for rock music, would mute like crazy. He would mute stuff all over the place. You'd give him like 2 guitar parts playing in the verse, and he would mute one of them. It'd be like bass, drums, 1 guitar. Chorus would come in and go heavy, heavy, arpeggio, arpeggio. That would be it. And then there'd be another lead line coming in, mute. You know, it would He would do a lot of that stuff. And I think in your mix here, it's big, it's fat. The guitar sound is phenomenal. I love the way you made those guitars sound. Because it's got so much energy from a few sets of instruments, I'd be muting and pulling stuff down just to add to this drama here. So
Here it comes, so get ready to run for your life.
I mean, it's good. It's almost like it wants to double time. Ready for your life. Bang! You know, you can either double that length there or bring some stuff out. Anyway, wonderful work. And it's amazing that we're getting into these detail stuff because your mix is so good. Bravo. The only other thing sonically I would change is, like I said, I would bring up the overheads, create some space around it. Really wonderful. Hey, Jeff is up next. Jeff Hollowell with his version of Stay. Let's see if we can find his notes. Here it is. Comes up next. Jeff says, finally got the time to give this one a go. I'm so far behind on mixes. I hear you, my friend. We are behind on everything, always, at all times. It's just a part of the process of doing what we love. I have to start that again because my headphones came unplugged.
Landed here with the world 2 steps away, sizing up the line I've crossed 100 times, taking count of all the nights considered lost, holding tight to who we were before I knew of all the dirt. And stay with me, don't leave, I need you now. And when I do it's right, I know I'll make you proud. Instead of pacing back and forth and giving in when you want more. So it's a shame now that I can't follow. Stay and wait for me, stay and wait for me. I will call when I'm coming. Stay and wait for me, I'll find you here if the stars allow it. It's even worse when I'm close and deny it. I shouldn't ask when I know you want me now. You want me now. I landed here with the world 2 steps away, sizing up the lie I've told 100 times. I can hear it in the way you say my name. There isn't any magic cure, I just refuse to leave the dirt. And stay with me, don't leave, I need you now. When I clear my mind, I know without a doubt no one loves me like you do. It's hard to turn from all the proof. So it's a shame now that I can't follow. Stay and wait for me, stay and wait for me. Stay and wait for me, I'll find you here. Stay and wait for me, stay and wait for me. I will call when I'm coming. Stay and wait for me, I'll find you here. If the stars allow it, it's even worse when I'm close and deny it. I shouldn't ask when I know you want me now. You want me now.
Wow, Jeff, that's a really, really good mix. That's a mix that I would be listening to on my headphones going, yeah, I think I got it. Really good. Wow, the bridge, you really did make it feel like U2 there. Absolutely phenomenal. So impressed. I am so impressed. Wow. So he did get his diploma. Well, when you do the masterclass, we do the diploma at the end. It's, you know, and I don't want to, this is all about Jeff. This is all about Jeff. So I don't want to get off on too much of a tangent, but everybody that's been to the masterclasses, mixers are like, bang! And I think, you know, it's when you come and you sit and you work on stuff and you talk about it and you get to express ideas and share stuff, it's all about the student. Because with Jeff, you know, he asks great questions. I mean, look at it. He and his wife are both in here. They're obviously really serious about this, but in a, you know, I don't mean serious. I just mean like they love this, and you bring passion to it. When people bring passion and love to anything they do in life, this is how it pays off. So wonderful additional production, absolutely amazing. Love the vocal sound. I think the bass works absolutely amazing, the way that you kind of just controlled it so it just fills in the space. This is like, the things that I'm going to point out are so minor, but it's because what you did works so well. So if I go here, let's listen to this section here.
Stay and wait for me, stay and wait for me. I will call when I'm coming. Stay and wait for me, I'll find you here.
Actually, I don't have a fault with it. I was going to say the only thing is sometimes when you hear the bass on its own, you might want to put a bit more grit on it just so it gives a bit more personality. That was something I learned with actually Tom Lord Alge when, and I may have talked about this last week, so I apologize if I'm repeating myself. But last, I can't remember where it was. Anyway, when I was doing an album and when I first moved to Los Angeles, I was the bass player. I was both the bass player and the guitarist. And what happened was we had this, we were mixing and he soloed the bass for a second. This is how the bass sounded. And I was like, oh, that's horrible. And then he came up to, sorry, I keep stepping on my cable. And then he came up to a section where it was like, I don't remember what it was. I think I was talking about this the other day, so I apologize. But like it's something like that. And it was just the bass and the drums. So the drums are going, and the bass was going, and he completely changed the EQ. You know, he changed the EQ so it went back to this really big, like really loud, like bottom-endy, loads of grit. And I thought to myself the first time I heard this, Jeff, was like, oh, maybe he could just open up the bass high end, but I don't think so.
Stay and wait for me, I will call when I'm coming.
I think it's perfect. This is a pretty faultless mix. It's a really wonderful mix. You know, really, really great work, Jeff. Really, really, you know, really, really great work. Fantastic. Okay. Next up is, I don't know what else to say except for, you know what I'd like to do maybe, what I'd like to do is maybe what we can do, and I'm saying this out loud, for Rob as well, is maybe what we can do on one of these kind of future ones is do a mix is do a mix breakdown with you. So what we could do is maybe have, this could be really good, Jeff, is like to maybe you do a breakdown and describe how you mix this. Am I throwing you under the bus here? You know, I think that would be really good, because that would be another perspective. When we have mixes that we really love like this, and we love a lot of these mixes, so don't get me wrong. If you could do like a share how you did it, that would add to the whole community here. Because you have me talking about it and showing how I do stuff, but then also you do that as well. You know what I mean? Was that really giving you too much work and really annoying you? I'm sorry if it is. But I know I would love to see it. I would love to see how you did this, and I think other people would as well. There you go. Jeff said he would love to do a mixed breakdown for everyone. Thank you. When you finish it, send us. And there's no hurry, because I know we've all got really busy lives. So many of us here are married with children and you know, and working jobs and all this kind of stuff. But if you want to send it to us once you're done, we'll put it up. Maureen says she's supportive of the idea. We can put it up, and then of course we can add it in the Academy email. So great. Okie dokie. Wonderful work, Jeff. Next up is Craig the Dove with It All Comes Back Around.
There's a space between, like holding the universe, trying to find out what it means. Is love all we need? Or is it mixed with a little fate and destiny? Don't know where it starts, don't know where it ends, yeah. Don't know where it starts, don't know where it ends, yeah. Don't know where it starts, don't know where it ends, yeah. Don't know where it starts, don't know where it ends, yeah. Don't know where it starts, don't know where it ends, yeah. Don't know where it starts, don't know where it ends, yeah. Don't know where it starts, don't know where it ends, yeah. I know where I've been, but I'm back to where I began. Find the reason, find the meaning of where I'm going, 'cause I want it and I need it. One reason, one life, one chance to make it right. 'Cause it all comes back, it all comes back around. Oh, and I've pleaded, I've tried, I've cried a million
That was just too much fun, wasn't it? I mean, that was just so much fun. Craig, the Dove. That was really, really cool. It's like, this sort of level of creativity always gets me really excited because it's like, first of all, it was just really, really fun to listen to and really cool to listen to. And the fact that I could just sit back and hear a song that I know completely reimagined, a song that I wrote, you know, with Liana James, and, you know, and just really, really enjoy it. Just absolutely fantastic. Bravo. You know, Craig's stuff is just phenomenal. He's always remixing, always doing wonderful stuff. We have Brian, obviously, for president. Brian does amazing work as well. I don't want to miss anybody else. Toby's done some great stuff. Lots of people do. Arthur's done some nutty stuff, and all good. And I mean nutty in a good way. There's so many people. I feel bad even mentioning some people because I'm going to miss out people. I really love it. To me, it's like another reason why we do this, because we're breaking down some barriers. We're getting to share different perspectives and ways of doing it. It's really wonderful. Great work, Craig. Don't have anything anything else to say except for thank you ever so much for doing so much great work. All right, next up is Rocco. And here's Rocco's comment. She said, here is my first plat mix. Thanks Toby and Anita for the process and the new instructional video. Yes, it was amazing. Steve Magora's Whiskey. Here we go.
Soon as your whiskey touched my lips, you set a fire to my song, and I'm gonna take it down to heaven. We push and pull and won't let go. It's a never end merry come and go round once more. And know you're so insatiable, so take me down again. Moaning, screaming, don't pretend. Wanna hear my name through gritted teeth and a heavy breath. Just lose yourself with me and you, and tell me what you wanna do, and we'll dance along the satin till the morning. And I can only hope that what you see is you and me, and never letting go. I'm gonna tear you down so hard, you're gonna be calling out for God, and he's gonna let you know he's looking down, and just keep going. So take me down again. Moaning, screaming, don't pretend. Wanna hear my name through gritted teeth and a heavy breath. Just lose yourself with me and you, and tell me what you wanna do, and we'll dance along the satin till the morning. Jonesing harder now, so take me down again. Moaning, screaming, don't pretend. Wanna hear my name through gritted teeth and a heavy breath. Whoa, lose yourself with me and you, and tell me what you wanna do, and we'll dance. We'll dance.
Really fantastic. Rocco, for a first mix, wow. Really, really great. And thank you for your kind words, thanking Toby and Anita for helping you out. That means a lot. It means that the community's working really well. I mean, there's tons of comments going on. It's really wonderful. So that there's proof in itself. For the mix, subtle things. It gets the click on the kick is just a little bit too much for me. I think when it's dense, like if we come here.
Breathing a heavy breath. Whoa, lose yourself with me and you, and tell me what you wanna do.
Even there, when it's dense, I hear the tick, click, click, click. Do you hear what I'm saying? It's sort of poking its head out a little bit too much. I think, so bring the click down on the kick. Whatever you're boosting there on the high mids, just calm down a little bit. A little bit more low lows on the kick itself.
Whoa, lose yourself with me and you.
Open up your master bus or your drum bus or a combination of both. There's a build going on there, but I don't hear it so much. I think somebody else was talking about it. Darko was saying just to work on the dynamics. Sonically, it's really, really close. Sonically, it's bring down the click on the kick. Give me a little bit of oomph low down on the kick. I'm just going to let you guys and girls know. Michael Beinhorn was here 2 days ago. He came in on a Wednesday. If you don't know who Michael Beinhorn is, quickly look him up and then you'll all be floored. So he was here a couple of days ago and we were talking about using the 120 or the disco boombox. There's just a bit of a secret of using that extra underneath. I'm not sure what somebody did mention the plugin for that, so we should talk about that. I also know that I have the NS10 sub that I have given out, which is really, really good as well. So you just want a little tiny under there, just a little 40 going just a nats would be absolutely wonderful. So that I highly, highly suggest. And then we'll also, yeah, so a little bit less click, a little bit of extra and God bless America. And then I think just open up your bus on your drums and open up your master bus and see if you can like ride these builds just a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it's a wonderful mix. It's really, really good. It's just these subtle things. But, I mean, honestly, you get it. You definitely get it, and you understand, you know, about EQ, compression, and, you know, fantastic work. All right. Next up, great work, Rocco. Next up, it's Ozzy with Pull Me Back.
I wandered out again last night into the ocean. Dove deep until I knew no longer up from down. It feels like clarity until my lungs remind me my time is up, time is up. Then you pull me back when I'm out of breath, swimming deep in black. You pull me back when I'm sinking down, down into the depths. You pull me back, and without you I know for sure I'd drown. But you pull me back, you pull me back. I wandered out again last night into a river, allowed the current to decide where I should go. It felt like freedom until I knew I was drifting, all alone, all alone. And I missed you, my home. Then you pull me back when I'm out of breath, swimming deep in black. You pull me back when I'm sinking down, down into the depths. You pull me back, and without you I know for sure I'd drown. But you pull me back, you pull me back. No one will like you do. No one will ever love me like you do. No one will ever love me like you do. No one will ever love me like you do. You pull me back when I'm out of breath, swimming deep in black. You pull me back when I'm sinking down, down into the depths. You pull me back, and without you I know for sure I'd drown. But you pull me back, you pull me back.
Wow. Ozzy. That's phenomenal. And like a couple people were mentioning, the kick on this is just great. The way the bass and the kick sit, it's really wonderful.
I wandered out again last night into the ocean, dove deep until I knew no.
Ozzy, this is you always do amazing work, but this might be my favorite of yours. This might be my favorite. I feel like it's realized the stuff you've added is just phenomenal, and the mix is coming really, really, really together. Great. We have to get this to David. So who's Eric? Who's working on this with you? What did they play? What parts did they do? Really, really great work. Really, really fantastic work. Amazing.
I wandered out again last night into the ocean, dove deep until I knew no longer up from down. It feels like clarity until my lungs remind me.
Love it. Absolutely love it. So good. So, so good. Very, very, very happy.
You pull me back when I'm out of breath, swimming deep in black. You pull me back when I'm sinking down.
I think what I particularly like is the acoustic guitar treatment. You've thinned them out just enough.
When I'm out of breath, swimming deep in black. You pull me back when I'm sinking down, down into the depths. You pull me back.
Really good. So we'd definitely like to know more. I'm sure we would. Could you tell us who's Eric? What was being done? What stuff did you do together? Really phenomenal. I'm a really big fan of the way you treated the kick and the bass. Now, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't do that on other songs, but on this song, it works absolutely perfect. It's like when we were talking about with the live streams, is like, how do we get it to a position where, you know, every time I do those live streams, I mix in a different way, and I'm trying to show that there is no one size fits all. What's the secret to separation? I just good EQ and good compression and good panning. It's a combination of everything, Andy. All right, that is really wonderful. Okay, next up. Oh, maybe, you know what, I might have... Okay, here is Ozzy's comments. Ozzy said, one more cool song from David that I enjoy mixing. When I listened to Eric's mix, I loved his production in the final part before the chorus. After contributing with Eric, he kindly accepted my posteriori collaboration. Although it is a different arrangement, I must accept that I influence from Eric's artistic creativity, and the production credits for that part goes to Eric with regards. Thanks to my plat friend Eric for his cool ideas. Ah, there you go. And here is Eric. Sounds absolutely amazing. The mix is so full and well-defined. I love the things you added to it musically. The song feels complete in this version. I'm happy and humbled that my version inspired you, and for that part before the last chorus, you made it your own and frankly better. As always, super impressed by your work, my friend Eric. Cheers, Eric. Wonderful. Well, that makes me happy. Makes me very happy. What an amazing collaboration. Okay. Right. I'm trying to find James. I don't see James is... Hey, Rob. I don't see James is... No.
Here, could you go on in the sidebar? There's just like this little link to the side of the screen.
Okay.
And then right click on Chrome. And then I think that guy. That guy. Should be one of these tabs. Yeah, if you just click through them. Because the original Produce Like a Pro is...
What am I... do you want to do? I don't know. I'm sure what you're asking me. We'll just see if we can find James's notes. You know what? We're going to listen to the song in the meantime, and we're going to find James's notes.
Sometimes the silence in my jet black room keeps me up at night. Sometimes a lie is all that can make everything alright. It won't make it alright. Sometimes I wonder if it's coincidence that love is a four-letter word. And sometimes well-spoken negativity is the loveliest thing I've heard. Well, I've heard. Sometimes the silence in my jet black room keeps me up at night. And sometimes...
Okay, so we thought... So this is... even without Eric here, we still get an Eric-ism. We still get an Eric-ism. So what happened? Sorry, James. James was pointing out earlier, he said, that doesn't look like my waveforms. I'll tell you why. Because it's not. Eric leaves his stamp on the day. He set this up last night. Or, in this case, didn't on this one. Okay, so this is obviously, for those of you who are noticing, it is actually not James. So, James, can you make a note to get James in next week? We'll make sure you're in next week. I apologize for that, James. And that explains when you said it doesn't look like your waveform why it is. It is Paul's. Okay, yay, Eric. All right, so, Paul Motion. Really enjoyed mixing this one, my first mix in Pro Tools, and took on board a lot of tips and tricks from the Platt videos. Thanks so much, Warren. And thanks to the Academy folks, Jonas and Spectrum in the chat last night, for tips on how to check in mono through the Pro Tools mix bus, master bus. Some weird influences when mixing a track from ELO to Eminem. Nice. Had some fun with the tracks, and they said they were that they were a stereo pair, but actually weren't. Oh, yeah, that's a mistake. That's a mistake that what happens is when I duplicate, if you watch my mix breakdown, you'll see that I duplicate tracks and then I do something fun to that track. I might put effects on it and all this kind of stuff. So it's not a stereo file. It's just if you watch the video, it'll make sense to you. It's just me duplicating it. If it's going to confuse people, I mean, I like to leave it up because it makes perfect sense if you watch the video. But if it confuses you, then maybe I'll take them out. I'm not sure what the best solution is. I feel like if you want to copy my mix, then I've already done that work for you. But if you don't want to copy the mix and you haven't watched the video, it's probably going to confuse you. But just so you know, so I'll take maybe I'll take one track, you know, the original track, compress and EQ it, then duplicate it and apply all kinds of crazy effects to it. You know, put a delay on it, you know. So then I'll leave it there for you so that when you watch the video, you know there's a left and there's a right. But so it's kind of a catch-22. What do? Do I take that out and then it not be there for a beginner who wouldn't know how to do it? Or do I leave it in and if you didn't watch the video, you get confused? I don't know. Help me out, people. What am I supposed to do in that situation? Because I feel like for a lot of the beginners, they might be like, oh, I didn't have that track that you had. And it's kind of a, that's going to confuse people, yeah. So that's the reason why sometimes there's doubled tracks that they're duplicated, but they're not actually different tracks. Okay, here we go. Here's Paul Motion with Chris Salin's track.
Sometimes the silence in my jet black room keeps me up at night. Sometimes a lie is all that can make everything alright. It won't make it alright. Sometimes I wonder if it's coincidence that love is a four-letter word. And sometimes well-spoken negativity is the loveliest thing I've heard. Well, I've heard. Sometimes the silence in my jet black room keeps me up at night. And sometimes a lie is all that can make everything alright. It won't make it alright. It won't make it alright. Sometimes I think it's a wonderful life, and oftentimes I don't. And sometimes I'll fall for anyone who seems to think that I won't. Sometimes I think I'll kill myself just to see if God is real. Sometimes I'm an emotional vampire who chooses not to feel, not to feel, chooses not to feel. And sometimes I'm everything I swore I'd never be. Jet black silence is all that's left of me. And sometimes I accept the fact as far as I can see. 100 lousy love songs. Sometimes I'm everything I swore I'd
Wow. I wanted to listen through to the end. I love a mix that's got a journey like this where you just kind of get into it and you get surrounded by the beauty of it and the majesty of it. Really, absolutely wonderful. I have minor notes. Minor notes are just on the kick. I want to hear just a little bit of 80 and 100 pulled out of it and a little bit more. I think actually it might be a developmental thing, but at the end here, if you have a listen.
Sometimes I'm anything I swore I'd never be.
I mean, I can hear it, and it's interesting because I'm sure it is a stylistic choice, so I don't want to be critical of it. It's just stylistically, it sounds like Simon Phillips's kick. It's kind of like do-do, do-do. But I think at that stage in the song, the kick should be and a little bit more click, just like really low down there and a bit more snap to it. But it's probably, like I said, I would probably treat it differently here.
I'm anything I swore I'd never be. Jet black silence is all that's left of me.
I mean, it's an amazingly well-arranged mix. You really captured everything about it. It's really, really fantastic. But yes, like super low end on there. Just give me some more and on the kick there and a bit more snap. In general, it's absolutely fantastic. But the additional stuff that you've done, I love the ending there. And just in general, you built the song in a way that keeps me excited the whole time. Let's listen to one other part.
Sometimes I think I'll kill myself just to see if God is real. And sometimes I'm an emotional vampire who chooses not to feel alright. It won't make it alright. Sometimes the silence in my jet black room keeps me up at night. And sometimes a lie.
Yeah, what I would do is I'd develop that. So, and I think it would make the song absolutely massive. So if you want, and you could change the relationship of the elements of the kick so that when it gets to the end, it gets really big on the low end. And I think that would take the whole mix over there. This is sort of moving into a territory of very, very, very sophisticated mixing when you think about that. This is like, this is very Eric Valentine. Eric will do this kind of stuff. He'll develop instruments as they go. One of the things I love about his mixing is he can take a verse that sounds completely normal. Like you're going, yeah, it's a great verse. And then the chorus comes in and it's like the biggest thing you ever heard in your life. And what you didn't realize is he was doing something like this. He was taking the kick, which was more in a do-do, do-do, kind of 100, 150 area. And then when the chorus comes in, he drops it down. So it's like being pushed for more at 40 and 60. It's a great tip that he does. So you could apply that kind of thinking. What I love, though, is the fact that we're talking this way. What does that mean? It means that your mix is fantastic. And we are looking at, like, again, what I always call the headphone mix. I'm sitting on the couch with the headphones. Really wonderful. Great work, Paul. Very, very tasty. James, we'll make sure that you get in next week. We'll give Eric a little slap. Even when he's not here, he can contribute to be Eric. All right, next up is Magnus.
There's a space between, like holding the universe, trying to find out what it means.
Wow. I love this kind of reggae, dance hall kind of, modern version, obviously, but. All of those percussive kind of stuff is super interesting. Takes me out of like the obvious tambourines and shakers and stuff like that and just makes it super creative. And the fact that you've got that groove and you made the vocal work with it is just absolutely wonderful. Yay! Magnus. Oh, do we get some commentary from Magnus? Let me have a look. Yes, here's Magnus. Hi, Magnus. Magnus says, got inspired and did a remix. In all honesty, I think the verses turned out better than the chorus. Feedback is always appreciated and needed. Lovely. Update. A few things have been bothering me. And a view has also commented. Also retimed the vocals in the chorus. Well, you did a wonderful job in there. I think I finally found something to give the chorus some more energy. Programmed a little TBO3 and also had some bit reduction to the vocal delay. That was great. Raised the level of the vocal on the chorus slightly. And then everybody's just loving on it. It's wonderful. Absolutely, absolutely wonderful. Wow, Magnus, you rock. So we're going to, obviously, after this has gone up, what I realized with the old Feedback Fridays, what we would do is we would send an email on Friday telling everybody to go and watch the video. And so what ends up happening is you get tons and tons of comments on that because people aren't watching live, they're going there. Is there any way we can encourage people to go to the completed video, leave comments, inside of the Academy, but just sort of like keep the awareness going? Because it's wonderful that people are coming on live, but it'd be nice if it wasn't just only people coming on live that get to see it. Wow, Magnus, you did an amazing job. Thank you, everybody. I'm very excited. We'll be big, bad, and back next week, of course, with more. And this was just so much fun. Thank you ever so much. Have a marvelous time recording and mixing, and I'll see you all again next week. I'll see you a bunch of times, obviously, because we've got the live streams on YouTube. We've got this live stream. Please, Jeff, we'd love to see your mix breakdown, and just thank you, everyone, for being such an incredible Academy. I'll talk to you all again very, very soon.